Hey everyone, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching Ozark Overland Adventures. I am currently in the process of putting my wife's Gladiator back together. We have had it doing a major transformation. I'll give you a little sneak peek here. This used to be red. Full video is already out on everything that we have done to this Gladiator. But I'm in the process of kind of putting it back together again. And as I'm installing the aux batteries, I thought now might be a good time to revisit a video that I did, I don't know, a couple years ago on power stations versus installing aux batteries. Because things have changed in regards to pricing and features and all that sort of stuff since I made that video. So what we have here is a Bluetti AC180. Absolutely love this power station. If you're in the market for a power station, and I think this kind of serves as a sweet spot. It's got 1158 watt hours of power, an 1800 watt pure sine inverter, 5 USB ports, 12 volt socket there, 4 AC outlets, wireless charging on top. Charges really fast. You can recharge this from 0 to 100% in a wall outlet in under 2 hours. I mean, this checks off pretty much all the boxes. This is a new battery that we've been running in the back of my wife's Gladiator for a few months now. It is a 100 amp hour or 1280 watt hour lithium iron phosphate battery. This is also lithium iron phosphate. They're both rated at about 3,000 to 3,500 cycles, so you're going to get a long life out of either one of them. Wanted to compare it because these are two very different choices that accomplish similar goals if you're out camping, overlanding, going out for multiple days and need power to run a fridge, which normally sits right here, auxiliary lighting, charging phones, camera batteries, all that sort of stuff. So why would you pick one versus the other? And for, I am just talking about in this use case, a single battery, because it's pretty much the same as this, 1280 versus 1152 watt hours. So very, very close, very similar in power outage. Both have battery management systems built in to protect the batteries from over voltage, under voltage, temperature, charging, all that sort of stuff. This has a BMS. This also has a BMS built into it that does the same things. This has a Bluetooth app that you can monitor and turn on everything that's happening in the Bluetti AC180. This also has an app that lets me be able to monitor how much charge is coming in, how much power is being used out, what's my state of charge, how much time I have left, any error codes, that sort of thing. It's a very cool app. So here in the app, I can tell this battery is currently at a 44% state of charge. Obviously, there's nothing coming into it. It does auto balancing if you're connecting this to other batteries. You can check on the cell status. This is good. Check on the BMS. BMS is doing good. All the cells in here are balanced. So handy app. And I think that's one of the things that kind of push people away from going with an auxiliary battery setup like this versus something like this, is because, how am I going to monitor it? How am I going to check on things? Well, a lot of batteries have built-in Bluetooth these days. We've got Renogy batteries in our trailer that have Bluetooth monitoring. I've got anti-gravity batteries in my Gladiator that have Bluetooth monitoring. This LiTime battery has Bluetooth monitoring. So that's becoming more and more common. And I would not purchase a battery like this without that, because it just makes the monitoring and management of them so simple. Now, what's the use case for the power station? Obviously, if you need portability. This is not going to be a good setup if you're sleeping in a ground tent and need power in your ground tent, unless you choose to run an extension cord over there or something. But obviously, this is not portable. This is something you mount in your vehicle. It stays in your vehicle, and everything you need power-wise is centered around your vehicle, which is exactly what we do. This is something that if you need portability, then this is the obvious choice, because I can pick this up and take this inside. If I need to run it inside, if we have a power outage, I can use this to keep my refrigerator going inside, or keep electronics charged and stuff like that in a power outage. This is obviously portable. I can loan it to a friend if I need to. Move it around camp. I still use these when I need something that's portable. This is obviously not portable. You mount it in your vehicle, stays in your vehicle. The biggest pro of having the auxiliary battery like this is how expandable it is. So this, obviously, I am limited to 5 USB ports, 4 USB-A, only 1 USB-C. You know how many things we use nowadays that run off of USB-C? Only 1 USB-C. The 12-volt outlet, fantastic, but it's regulated at 10 amps, which means it struggles to run things like a diesel heater, which require up to 15 amps sometimes. The power outlets, obviously, 4 is what you get, unless you can plug in a extension cord or something like that to it. But I mean, that's what you get. This, I can build this out and make it however I want to. So I'm going to be putting power outlets in and around this Explorer elevated topper on her Gladiator. So 12 volt for running a diesel heater. Boom. These things are so cheap. They're like less than 10 bucks a piece. So this is not going to be regulated at a certain amperage. I've never had a problem. I've got one in my Gladiator. I've never had a problem running a diesel heater off of this type of setup, connected to an aux battery. Multiple USB ports. USB-C PD port, USB-A, there's one of each of those. This one has 2 USB-Cs and a USB-A. So I'm going to be putting these around her Gladiator so that she's got power wherever she might need it to charge batteries, charge phones, run lighting, whatever. You can expand. If I need 20 USB ports, I can put them around here. Inverter. You can get an inverter for I looked on average, a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter on Amazon, about 180 bucks. So if I need, AC power in here, I'm going to put an inverter in the back of this Gladiator so she can have AC power to run whatever it is she needs to run. Starlink, a hairdryer if she decides to dry her hair at camp or whatever. I can expand this and move things around wherever I need them with this. If I need more power, so this is 100 amp hours, 1280 watt hours. If I need more power, I add a second battery. I have now doubled my storage capacity. You obviously can't do this with this one without just buying another power station and having to carry it around. The charging of these systems, for a long time, you were limited in a vehicle like this to charging these off 12 volt, which were limited to 90 to 100 watts if you were lucky of input power. This is 1100 watt hours at 100 watts. If you drain this, that's going to take a very long time to charge while you're driving. Now you could have solar panels connected to your vehicle. It's another complexity. You could get 2, maybe 300 watts of input with solar if you have sun, but it's the charging of these while on the move and even at camp that makes power stations more of a challenge. Now, Bluetti has just announced their DCDC charger, specifically designed to charge power stations much, much faster from the alternator. EcoFlow has theirs. I'm hoping to be getting my hands on the Bluetti one in the very near future to put it to the test. And I mean, that may swing some of this one direction or the other. But those are now coming out to be able to charge these much faster in a vehicle. These, you've got a whole wealth of options. We decided to go budget, and that's really kind of what I want to talk about, is the budget side of auxiliary power. You'll see in the back, I've just got a very simple Renogy 40 amp DC to DC charger. There's no solar inputs on that. There's nothing but DC to DC charging from your alternator for that, and it pumps out 40 amps. 40 amps worth of input coming into your batteries. This is a 100 amp hour battery. In what, 2.5 hours? Fully drained, I can have this fully charged. And that is only $154. This obviously requires you having some know-how and ability to, do the setup, do the wiring. You can't be afraid to drill holes in things, to mount plugs like this, or to securely mount chargers and battery boxes and stuff in the bed. So that's, if you are very shy and lack confidence in, doing this type of wiring setup, then this is probably the simple and better solution for you. But if you do have those skills, or you want to learn those skills, this really isn't hard. I mean, the Renogy is one wire to the battery, one wire to a ground, one small wire to the fuse box, and then output wires to the batteries. It's just that simple. Was not hard at all. Just actually running the wires and getting them to the places is what took the longest in doing this setup. So let's look at the cost breakdown here between these two. The Bluetti AC180 right now is $549 on their website. Heck of a bargain. Cost per watt hour on this thing is ridiculously low right now. It is a crazy good value for a power station. This setup, this battery is $279, which for a lithium iron phosphate 100 amp hour battery with Bluetooth, heck of a good deal. My anti-gravity batteries that I have in Sully, they're like $800 a piece. They are also self-heating too, but they're expensive batteries. Now, does that have a better BMS than these? I don't know. Are those going to last longer than this one? I don't know. But for $279, this is a heck of a value. Already said, the Renogy, $154, and like I said earlier, a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter from Amazon, about $180. So all total, that puts this at $613. Obviously, that's not it. You're going to have to buy the wiring, get crimp connectors, and however many of these little things you want, that sort of thing. So factor in another $100-ish there. So all in, with a single 100 amp hour battery, you're looking at $713. That's not bad at all. I spent a whole lot more on that and what went in my Gladiator. And if I want to add a second, make this a 200 amp hour setup, I'm doing this for less than $1,000, which is crazy. I think that's a pretty good overview of the pros and cons of the power station versus the auxiliary battery. Obviously, for our setup in the back of a Gladiator, we're going with the auxiliary batteries because of how we travel. We don't sleep in ground tents. We sleep in rooftop tents on our vehicles. We run power up into our tent from the batteries. It just makes life super simple at camp. I don't have to deal with getting this out of the front, plugging a fridge into it. My fridge is just plugged into this all the time. For our type of travel, this makes sense. Depending on your style of travel, your setup, all that, the power station may make sense. So there's no right or wrong here between these two. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. Be glad to answer them as best I can. But as I'm, like I said, as I'm putting all the stuff back together, I've been really impressed with how well this worked on our last couple trips, and wanted to share this as really a budget type of setup in your vehicle for auxiliary batteries. So if you want, like, subscribe, give us that YouTube love, check out the Patreon link in the description if you like what we're doing and you want to consider supporting the channel. That Patreon link is down there. And for all of our merchandise, shirts, hats, stickers, patches, etc., go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.